G'day Doggies fans, all things Bulldogs. We've got another player watch. It's a new recruit series, and Sitili Tupouniua. We're going to have a good little dive into him. There'll be some replays of him. I tried to upload this a bit earlier, but took some snaps from KO, and the NRL has blocked it for copyright, as they do. But anyway, we'll use some clips that are on YouTube and such, and hopefully that'll be fine. But let's talk about Sitili Tupouniua, the highest profile signing for 2025. $600,000 to $650,000 a season on a 4-year deal. It'll be his, you'd suggest, his last big payday at 27 years old, but the prime years of his career are right now, I believe. He's been an ultra consistent, really talented player for the Roosters. Let's have a look at him. He's born on the 30th of May 1997, 186 centimetres and 101 kilograms approximately. Born in Auckland, nicknamed Tilly. Played all his 106 games at the Sydney Roosters. Also represented Tonga as well, and did so very well. For those who like to back anytime try scorers, this guy's scoring a try pretty much every 3 matches he plays. He also will get an offload about the same amount of time. Averages about 66 metres a game, but has played a lot of games off the bench. Was pretty consistent once he got into the side from about 2019, playing 16 matches. Played a lot of matches in 2020, 21. Good return there. 22, played 16. I think he got an injury in that year, and then he got an injury in 2023 as well. Only playing 8 games. Played quite a few last year for the Roosters, 21 matches in total, and many of them he actually, towards the end of the season, where they had a lot of injury issues, he moved out into the centres, had to do that in the middle of games, which is something we've seen a lot of Bulldogs back rowers do. He fits that profile of a player that can come in and play on both sides of the field, like a, like a Jacob Preston and a Jamin Salmon. They can play left edge, right edge, doesn't matter. Viliami's more of a left edge player and really good on that side. It enables us to have what I believe the greatest depth of any side in the back row, and it also gives us a really a chance to rotate those players and get a full season out of them, with the expectation there will be some injuries, there'll be some niggles, and potentially some representative duties for those players, whether it be for Fiji or for Tonga, or even a potential origin berth for a player like Jacob Preston. So we're going to talk about where we think he's going to fit in, but let's have a look at a couple of his highlights. There's a few there. We'll play them. I'll turn it down a little bit. We'll play them in the background as we talk, but you see in these highlights, he's pretty good with the ball. He runs hard. He runs into gaps. He's a really good support player, a really good effort player, and he's got those attributes that the Canterbury Bankstown people are looking for. And as you can see here, he's gone through 3 or 4 players. Pretty soft try in the end that people shouldn't be scoring, but he scored it. This one you'll see was against the Storm, where he's running off a kick. A lot of his tries just coming from Joey Manu, funnily enough, and both of those players won't be at the Roosters for 2025. Sitili scored quite a few tries off kicks, and here's a few. There's off a nice ball from Sam Walker, splitting the Roosters. Another one against the Broncos off a kick from Sammy Walker, and then support play there on the Anzac Day game. This play here is a bit of his defence. Now, I really wanted to show you a hit that he put on Tom Burgess after a well-worked play by the Rabbits. You know, they go to the right-hand side of the ruck. Tom Burgess is there off no real hit up, and it's a bit of a surprise tactic they use, the Rabbits, and they use it well, and he scored many points doing that. Sitili Tupouniua absolutely flattened him and nailed him near the line, and it was a really big play. And that's pretty much it there. There's more highlights of Sitili Tupanua doing some good stuff. We've got some under-19 stuff here, or not under-19s, 2019, where he was playing for the North Sydney Bears, the feeder club for the Roosters at the time, and doing a good job there. As I said, he can play left edge, right edge. There's a bit of talk that he may play some lock. So I think, look, he's not a ball player, although that was a pretty nice offload from the ground. So he's got skill, he's got ability, really good support play here, run him through the gap. Good lead-up work by the player who scores. I think that's little Lockie Lamb was a really good assist for the line break. And there he is running again off the kick. So playing left edge in this match a lot, can play right edge as well. So, if Viliami's injured, I think he'll go to the left-hand side and Jacob will stay on the right. You may see Sitili do a lot of work where he is actually, you may see him starting games. I think that really could be something that happens where Sitili Tupanua starts a lot of those matches. Here's some highlights from the NRL in a game against the Broncos. Hopefully this won't have any issues, but we will see. I'll put that on full ball there. But look, he's a definite asset to us as far as depth goes. I'm not convinced that he's a $650,000 player, but I think he'll want to give the Bulldogs that exact return on investment. I really do believe that. I think we've, shown a lot of faith in his ability and that we're going to, give him every opportunity. Jacob Preston's someone that I believe would be starting in every match, but I really do believe they're going to rotate Jacob and Sitili around a fair bit, pending injuries, of course, and try and get as much longevity out of all these players through the season so that they can be running at the highest possible speed and effort and give the highest amount of output over a season. And when you've got depth, that's how you achieve it, and that's how they go about it. And that's why clubs like the Panthers are so good. And they have all these hungry juniors really pushing these players hard, but also have those depth in those positions. And whenever they feel that the depth isn't quite there or the youngsters aren't quite ready, they just go and buy that player to fill the gap for a year or two. And it's been really good for them. They did that with Jamin Salmon. They did that with Momirovski. They did it with, young Jack Cogger. They got Schneider last year. I felt did quite a good job. He copped a little blame, but it was a bit hard when, no Nathan Cleary there for a lot of the season. Plus, they just lost Stephen Crichton. There's so many things they've had to deal with. They're up-and-comers that they got ready. Little, I think, Teddy May or whatever they call him. Not Tyrone's brother, I forget his, Taylor May. He was the next one to step up. Well, he's, because of his exploits, he's not there. So that's the type of system we're trying to build, where we've got all these youngsters which just want to be Bulldogs, want to stay in the Bulldog system, that put in a lot of effort and do a lot of hard work, put a lot of pressure on to get their opportunity. But you got to have depth in the first grade squad that makes it really hard for these young kids to actually break through. That's what you want. And that's going to mean that we're going to lose some talented players, which I've said numerous times. But you've got to have those players in front of them. And that's very, very important. And a player like Sitili Tupanua is definitely going to add that to us, into our club. So wherever he fits in, I strongly believe Sitili Tupanua is going to play a huge role in what we do in 2025 and beyond. As I said, the rotations with the Preston and the like, his defensive capabilities, he tackles at about 91%, which is pretty good on those edges. He plays that role where he will put on a lot of pressure on the outside edge, which Viliami Kikau does well. Jacob Preston does that well. It's going to suit our style. He's got that ability to get back and chase and run, and we've seen it numerous times actually where runaway players, he's been the one chasing to the end. And we love what we saw from James Graham. He used to do similar things, just did not give up on the play and tried to force them wide. I saw a chase on Xavier Savage, which was huge, and one on our own Jarrell Skelton last year, which I think a lot of fans saw and really liked. And then not long after that, it was announced that he was coming to the Bulldogs, and that was definitely something that I think helped when we sign a player on a long-term deal on big money, especially when we've already seemingly got a lot of depth in that position. Because not only do you have the likes of Kikau and Preston, you do have Salmon there, and not that people rate Salmon, but he's a good backup for an edge, and he works hard and he defends hard. The fact you've got the youngsters like Luke Smith coming through, Harry Hayes, who can play an edge and has played a lot of edge and centre. The fact that you've got players like Josh Curran who are really suited to playing an edge role, it does. You sort of go, well, Sitili Tupouniua, he's 100 kilos, he's about 6'1", looks bigger to me than those stats. He looks taller to me, and he looks larger on the field. He's got a much bigger presence about him. But in saying that, I believe he's going to add a lot to our club. I don't see him being utilised in the lock role, but more of a, just an additional middle when we need it. If he's got to be part of that rotation, like Josh Curran did last year, I'm sure he'll be able to fulfil that need if required. Sam Hughes obviously going to be better for the run. Max King will appreciate, it's just good that we've got that extra sort of physical presence out there. And not to mention some unforgotten heroes, which I talked about, well, not heroes, but players such as Daniel Saluka Fafita and Ryan Sutton, experienced players with some size and toughness about them that if they can play well, they could really add to our depth as well. So, look, I'm excited about Sitili. It's interesting to see how he's going to be played, but I've got a feeling he's going to start in some of the earlier games, and a player like Preston might be utilised off the bench. And but who knows? He may start in the middle. We really don't know. My gut feel is that they will continue with a mobile pack and a mobile bench without that extra huge body. And a player like Tom Mamone, to me, isn't a huge body. He's someone who... it's funny, I look at Leo. Leo's probably more of an enforcer, but young Pahulu, who's coming through, is another one that if he comes to the club, he's another one of those guys that aren't huge. Pretty low centre of gravity, very strong, good footwork, can pass either side of the ruck, and are only young and only going to get better and better and better. So lots to look forward to for the Bulldogs. I hope you enjoyed my little chat on Sitili Tupouniua. Go check out some of the games that he played last year, especially watch the game in South. So I think quite early in the match, maybe the first 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, you see a really massive hit on Tom Burgess, which was a good one. And I'll probably get a copy of that and try and somehow razzle it up so I can play it on Facebook or something like that, or do a short with it. But that's Sitili Tupouniua, or Tilly they call him, Sydney Roosters Junior, who's come across to the Bulldogs, and I think will add a lot to us next year. And I'm looking forward to seeing a really good performance from him and the club. I think he's going to make us better, and I think the club's going to be, the fans are going to see what I'm talking about once he gets cranking. So that's Sitili Tupouniua, the Tongan representative, all things Bulldogs. Like and subscribe if you like, and thanks for listening, and go the Dogs.